Hello everybody, Corey here. I'm going to do the daily roundup for Friday and apologize for the delay. I have been traveling for family functions. But anyway, just a reminder, I'm not a qualified licensed investment or financial advisor, and that YieldMax ETFs are extremely risky, and please make sure you understand the risk, which are available and defined on their website. So for the daily roundup, these are all the same tickers that they had on Thursday and that they opened with on Friday. So here's the holdings by IV. If you care to see that, we have B. Riley at 131 and Vertiv Holdings at 54%, top to bottom. But we're gonna move on here. You can always pause the video for that info. If you can look at the top here, we have ULTY closing up. Was at 36 cents up, which is 2.39%, while the S&P was up 1.26%. Let's sort these. So it looks like B. Riley was down the most here. They were down 7%. Then we have Coin down 2 and Root down 1, and everybody else was in the positive. If we look at those, the biggest sun run was here, up 9%. Those that were up 8% was Wayfair, MicroStrategy, Enphase, Wolfspeed, and Wolfspeed, sorry. Giga Cloud Technology was up 7%, and My Medicine was up 5%. Everybody else was up 1 to 4% there. If we go over, we don't have any short calls on Friday. They will determine that on Monday. But they did end up having a lot of short calls that they had to close out, which you can see in column M. So you can see they paid $2.4 million to close out the short calls that they had. And when I say short calls that they had, I mean, let me double check on my handy dandy spreadsheet that you can't see. But yes, all of their short calls, regardless if they expired on in a couple of weeks, they still closed those out. So the only thing we have are synthetic positions. We also do not have the treasuries listed. So I'm not sure if that is an error or if that's actual. If it is, then that makes me think they're doing some movement of some funds, possibly custodians. I don't know. I guess we'll find out Tuesday if it's back or if it's not. But I just wanted to point that out. So now that money is basically, well, I didn't really see if it was sitting all in cash or if it went all to if it all went to cash or if it went to the money market. But no, the money market stayed the same. Well, it didn't stay exactly the same. 40. Okay, so it did all go to cash. Because we had 40 million in cash Thursday, and then Friday we had 50 million in cash. So yeah, so I don't know. Not sure. Also thought it was odd that they had 2 synthetics that did not expire this week, but they also closed them out when they were not. And look, there I go. It wasn't 2, it was 3. I'm looking at now my other sheet. One of them was 25% underneath its strike price. One was 7% under its strike price, and the other one closed at exactly the same amount as its strike price. So I'm not really sure. 2 of the 3, or 1 of the 3, they closed out the synthetics that went with it, but the other 2, they didn't close out the synthetics, which are the ones that they were under. But of course, we still have 12 tickers that we have the synthetics for. So I'm not sure what their plan is. But anyway, just to give you a hands up there, of course, if you watch all the trades and holdings, you'll see what they do and don't have. But I just wanted to mention this, but like I said, you can see there that it cost them, and I can double check over here. Yeah, so that's right. All right, sorry, I changed the formula and I had to change it back. I changed one when I was checking just to make sure. And then I messed something up. But we're good here. So yeah, those short calls, 2.4 million is what they paid to close out all of those. And then we have the synthetics here for the ones that they did close out, which was all of the short calls, right, that were above their strike prices on Friday. All of those short calls were closed out, which then also means the synthetics were closed out with those. Then they had the 3 short calls that didn't expire for a few weeks, and then they chose to close out the synthetics on one and not the other 2, which you can tell here. Root does not have any synthetic trades, and GigaCloud Technology, none on Friday. So those are the 2 that we still have these synthetics for. So you can see here our total. So our short call, like I said, negative 2.4 million. Synthetic trades were positive 4.3 million for a total of almost 1.9 million brought in there. And then if you want, we could rank these, let's see, there at the top. The ones at the bottom, those that didn't have those short call trades on, they would have expired worthless on Friday, so they didn't have to pay to close those out. And then you could see that 18 and 19, because there's just because the number of ETFs that are here. But those 2, since they didn't close out the synthetic positions, so they didn't have any, positive money coming in from those, they just showed the overall negative where they paid to close out those short calls. So if we look at the top, overall, the best ones that have done there, and I guess I could hide this because we don't have any trades here. Why didn't it hide? Shoot. Sorry. Hide. Let's try again. There we go. So you can see all of that together. But anyway, C did the best overall because I know it had something going on last week. I just don't recall. And it had jumped way up there. So you see it brought in almost $800,000. Sunrun bringing in over $450,000. Carvana brought in over $430,000. And Viking Therapeutics bringing in $229,000, while Wayfair brought in $140,000. So those are pretty good there. So the bad thing is, yeah, they went over their short call strike price, which is what triggered the close of the top ones out. The bottom 3 are the ones that were closed out, MindMedicine included. Those are the ones the short calls didn't expire for a couple of weeks, but the rest of them are the ones that expire on Friday. But yeah, they might have gone over the strike price of the short call, but they made a lot of money on the synthetic, which is why they made quite a bit of money overall there. And then you can see, of course, in column S here, you can see all of those net assets are 0 because those are totally closed out, so they don't have any net assets worth anything there. So what we're going to do, we're going to sort this over here. Sorry. All right. So at the top, those are our biggest losers, right? Those are the ones that currently within the fund, and those top ones that are red are the ones that are bringing the stock price down. But of course, these are these synthetics only, which means these are all below these, probably all below the synthetic strike price. So MicroStrategy, Root, B. Riley, SMCI, CleanSpark, and Coinbase there, with the biggest one being negative 13 cents for MicroStrategy. And then at the bottom, these are all the ones that, and they're probably all here, otherwise they wouldn't be positive, above their strike prices. So Enphase, Wolfspeed, Vertiv Holdings, Symbotic, Firm, and GigaCloud Technology. And, as you can see, GigaCloud is bringing the stock price up 16 cents overall. And then I started to bring these up. But this was, well, the main reason I was going to pull this up because I thought maybe, the other ones were going to go over their strike price or did at some point. I don't know. But we can look at those. Of course, I know some had mentioned before they like seeing this. I don't know if anybody still likes seeing this. But here's where we looked overall for our charts throughout the day. A lot of them went up. A few of them, you can tell, sort of went down towards the end of the day. But if we look here, so Mind Medicine is the one that closed, had a strike price of 10 and closed at 10. However, they paid 85 cents a share to close those out, but it could be also because it's out for a couple of weeks. But let's look at Mind Medicine. So Mind Medicine did come up earlier in the morning. Mind Medicine earnings release. So they don't release for a couple of weeks. They did. Okay, I can't use my pencil. It'll just move the screen. Okay, so they did come up to about 10:30 something. So I don't know if they thought, I don't know. But then you can see in the end of the day, it really didn't. So 10, where's the $10 mark? So here's our $10 mark. So it looks like the majority of the day, it was above that strike price. And let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so all of that's pretty much owed except for those last two. Of course, that last one, it just came in over the weekend. And then this one was a press release, Mind Medicine to host a conference call and webcast to discuss first quarter earnings, which we know is by looking at above there, it's going to be May 8th. So that's going to be this week. So today is the 5th. Trying to get my computer. So yeah, the 8th is Wednesday. I don't know what any of those are. But I want to look down into the documents to look into those. But that may be why they closed this out, because it did go up 5% Friday, and I don't know what we looked like over, well, yeah, this might have been a chance to get out of this. I don't know. I can't remember how long we've been in here, but it did go all the way up. Up to $12.20, and then of course it came down, and it looks like we were just rising and keep going up, up, up. Of course, that makes sense why they closed out of the short call. Doesn't make sense why they closed out of the synthetic unless they truly decided they didn't want to be in it next week. So I don't know. Overall, they ended up only making $45,000 on Mind Medicine itself. If they would have kept if they hadn't closed out the synthetics, they would have been worth $358,000. But I guess they had to close. Well, no, because they didn't close out the other two when they had a major loss like that. So I'm not sure why they did what they did on this one. Let's look at Root. I don't have these in alphabetical order, so Root. Oh, wow. Yeah, see, they were underneath their strike price by 25%. So I don't know why they closed out of the short call. It cost $60,000 to close out of that short call. Root. Yeah, so Root's synthetic, the reason they probably didn't close out of that one is because they're at a loss. Yeah, not quite a $500,000 loss, but yeah, they're at a loss because the strike price is $65 and they're underneath that by 13%. Still not sure why they paid to close out the short call instead of just leaving it and see where it went the next couple of weeks. Instead of paying the $60,000 they paid to close it out. And being at what seems to be the low for a minute there, because here, this was a couple of weeks ago. I don't know. I cannot, I really don't know there. GTC is the next one. GigaCloud. So now this one, again, they just closed out the short call and not the synthetic position. But if we go back to here on the daily, that's after hours data. They were going up. I don't know if they were going to make it to their strike price of $40. Maybe. Maybe not. They had a couple of weeks to go. Let's see. I don't know, but they closed that one out. And in this one, they didn't close out the synthetic, but closing the synthetic, they would have gotten $690,000. So this one would have been positive, while the other one was negative $500,000. This one, is positive almost 700,000. So it's like two different things. So it's hard to predict why they've done what they've done in these two cases. And now if we look here at the daily, we can see GigaCloud's just, it's option data. You can see where it's, the channel it's been in, or where it's been going up and down here. Now it was at the top here. It's a possibility it's going to might go back down if it hits resistance. But again, if it went back down, the short call would have just expired worthless when it came time. Again, not closing out these synthetic positions. Let's look at news. So earnings, their earnings is this week also. Their earnings will be Thursday in pre-market, according to that right there. We'll just look at down here at news. Yes, they're going to have earnings. Shareholders sells $2.9 million in common stock. And then I don't know, that one that says 4 days and 2 days, those could be the exact same thing without me digging down into it, which I'm sure y'all don't care. Of course, this one down here says 3.17 million. So that one's lots of people selling there. Because then we go down a little bit more, we see 1.6 million sold. Of course, this 3.1 and that one up there could have been similar. Of course, those are a little bit older. And then these are probably all the things, them selling, and you get down in the weeds of those, which we won't do here because I'm sure most of you don't care. But anyway, yeah, I don't really, I don't know. Mind Medicine looked like it was going to go above it, and it closed at it. They closed the short call and all the synthetics. Root, 25% below its short call. Seemed to be like it was going to expire worthless. Did not close out the synthetics, though it would have been a negative, $500,000. GigaCloud Technology, maybe this next week they could have gone over their strike price. Maybe not. Didn't close out the synthetic, but the synthetics were worth about $690,000 on Friday. So anyway, yeah, that's a little bit into those three. Sorry for those of you that didn't want to stick around for this or see that, but just a little bit of in-depth look at those, and looking at the chart and looking to see if there was any news or anything special about these. And in fact, we had 3 different cases. But anyway, I will let y'all go, and I will talk with y'all later. Thanks. Bye.